Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second season of PSGL GT Racing Tier 1 season. My name is Webbo. I'm here to take you through tonight's proceedings, but we are just having a little bit of server difficulties right now, just some lag affecting the drivers. We want to make sure that we get as many drivers for you as possible. So as I mentioned in the live chat, we will begin very shortly, and we thank you very much for your patience. Stick around for us. It will be worth your wait, I'm sure, and I'll do a proper introduction very shortly. just another thank you for your patience here from Webbo. Be assured we will be with you as quickly as humanly possible. Having a few technical difficulties, as anybody familiar with the game will fully appreciate. Be with you very shortly. Please be patient. Thank you so much. Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Premier Sim Gaming League's GT7 Season 2. This is Tier 1, and we thank you so much for waiting patiently for us. My name is Webbo. I'm here as your commentator for the evening, and we're just doing some practice laps to check on the track conditions before we get underway for qualifying. We are really excited to be back with you, and hopefully you will drop in. Let me know in the live chat who you're here to support. Are you a faithful returner from Season 1? Are you a follower of one of our Season 1 drivers? Or are you here because of the superstars we have joining us here for Season 2? And we'll talk a little bit about that in due course. If you are here from last season, you will remember that Hasnain was our champion and the very first PSGL Tier 1 GT champion. And no one will ever take that away from him. However, he only secured it by countback, by scoring equal points to HRG, or H Racing Green, as you'll see his name on the listings here, which reminds me to get the whole thing set up for you. So here we have. So Hasnain was last season's champion. As I say, HRG was our runner-up last time out. With Pasci in third and Brownski in fourth. Brownski is in Tier 2 this time round, just to give you an indication of just how competitive the qualification procedure has been this season for Tier 2, for Season 2. I was privileged to take part in the latter half of last season. Well, this season it's an expanded season, more tiers, new racetracks, and this is the first of them. This is, of course, Kyoto Driving Park Yamagawa Reverse that we are taking part in tonight. For those of you unfamiliar with the setup, it will be an 8-minute qualifying period. We will then it is a strict 8 minutes as well. There's no finish the lap you're on business. It is out and gone. Here is Prez, the Lebanese driver, who is very much up for tonight's racing. And you can see a picture of some of the new liveries out there. Some you'll recognise, some are brand new. I have to say, I'm not exactly privileged to all of the new team names either. So we're going to have to find that out alongside each other. And so hopefully you will bear with us. Of course, new cars as well. We're switching from Group 3 to Group 4. and welcome everybody who has already joined us. Hi to Marion, hi to Gio, Alves, Yazan, Aura, who unfortunately hasn't been able to make it tonight to race with us, but should be with us next week. We look forward to that one. And to everybody else who is joining us, if you want to shout out, do say hello. Do tell me who you're here to support. Alves is here for Antonio. Gio wins the prize for the first of the prohibited statements there in the live chat. Someone will be along to clear those kind of comments off, but I appreciate you having a little bit of a joke with us. No worries there at all. And then, so in terms of the format, 8 minutes qualifying, and then we exit and start again, and we go straight into the race. The race is a 33 lap race we're expecting tonight. I'm just going to exit now because we are rebuilding our lobby for the start of proceedings. So it should mean that the race will start at 8:10 local time, 8:10 UK time at least. And Yazan is here supporting HRG, which is awesome, and he's hoping that the TT doesn't eat its tyres. Well, obviously the balance of power is relatively good for the drivers. I have to say it's not exactly balanced, but it should be a little bit better than the last time out. So we're just waiting for obviously everything to sort itself out and get ourselves ready. Mr. Ralph says he's been a fan of PSGL for a while and rooting for Moreno, Sammy Moreno. Excellent stuff. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope we don't disappoint and you enjoy tonight's racing. Season 1 was pretty good, very entertaining, especially as it built towards a dramatic finish, but hopefully Season 2 will be all the more better for you all. The superstar drivers I mentioned before, the likes of Afa there, Afa Leon, his name Mehdi, of course, and we look forward to seeing exactly how they perform against the top guys from Season 1. It's 9 rounds this time round. It's 16 points for a win. We're waiting for the drivers to get underway with qualifying, of course. I will usually join the drivers in on board for qualifying and outboard for the race. Now, please bear with us. There is a glitch on the game where when I start the race it seems to switch to first person mode and we get no trackside cameras, so we have to ride with somebody first person for a little bit, unfortunately, until I then exit and restart again. It's a glitch, I can't fix it. I will keep trying as the updates come in, but hopefully that will sort itself out during the course of our season. But just to mention, if we're seeing an onboard shot during the race, that is not deliberate or desirable from my side at all. So like I say, 9 rounds at new tracks with new cars. It is the drivers have to use 25% of the race distance on each of the medium and hard tyres as a minimum. So of course they can run, I think it's 8 laps this time round. We've got some cars heading out on the track already, which is great because that's what we want. That's what we're all here to see, cars racing around as we get ready for this this circuit, of course. Let's see, we'll perhaps ride on board with Afa here because he is obviously one of the favourites. So we'll see what he's got. He's in the M4. We've got the TT Cup. We've got the AMG Gr.4 on the circuit as well as a number of other drivers, of course, and liveries that you'll get used to throughout the season. I hope you make Tuesday nights a fixed appointment in your calendars as we round the second hairpin here of the track. Very, very interesting track dynamics, very tight and twisty first sector, and then it's very, very quick and flat out, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the cars going backwards around this track, backwards in terms of the track layout rather than actually physically engaging reverse gear, but backwards around those two very long 180-degree bank corners that we get ready for. A little bit of fuel burning going on, running around in second gear here from Alpha. The tricks being played already to get us underway. He will perhaps only get a couple of laps in for qualifying. It's not quite one shot, but it might well be. two-shot qualifying for most people. In terms of points, first position will get 16 points, 12 for second, 10, 8, 6 and 5 for 6th place, and then 4, 3, 2, 1 down to 10th with a point for fastest lap. Like I say, we've got 9 rounds. There's also a Nations Cup for the manufacturer nations, decided between the USA, UK, Germany, Italy, France and Asia Pacific. The top 2 of each nation each manufacturer nation will score points tonight. And let's join Afa on board as he takes to this fantastic circuit for the first time at speed. So heading down past the pit lane entry. The pit lane exit is one to watch out for during the race. Priority and right of way is given to the exiting car from the pit, so long as they don't go over the pit lane exit line with a full tyre. So round the first tight hairpin corner, grabbing second gear, of course, short sprint then down to the right angled turn 2, which very quickly feeds into the slightly more open turn 3 to the left. Then we are heading up the hill and down the dip to a second hairpin, back down into third gear, snatch second on the way in, change back up to third. Oh, a little bit sideways already from Afa here, just getting a feel for the circuit. Rounding turn 5 now, before again another really difficult downhill braking while turning, sharp left-hander, overstepped track limits slightly there, but the game let him get away with it. And heading then up the hill, and now we're into sector 2 and the fast stuff. So we come out of we're going through turn 9, heading towards turn 9, sorry, right now, which is I think he's actually canned the lap, has he? I think he might be fuel burning here through the lap, unfortunately. So we're going to have to switch drivers. How is Kai Racer doing? We'll try and take this one at speed. 5th gear on the turn in for Kai Racer, down to 4th gear. Seemingly never-ending corner. A couple of apexes you can usually take through here, and then now we're going to do the fast switchbacks, which actually decrease in speed. These ones, similar to a Maggots and Beckett's type of complex. Then into turn 12, 13, slowing slightly for 14 through, with 6th gear hopping over the curb and then back down again. Nice turn in for the final corner, turn 15. I think we'll see cars side by side through here tonight. Maxim has got the fastest time so far, a 1:41.342, as we have Kai Racer heading towards the line, and his time the fastest yet, a 40.359. Who's next? We've got Mehdi about to finish up his lap. Sorry, he's on his second lap already. He has got the second place time. Looks like Kai Racer's time has been cleared for an infraction, unfortunately. So it looks like he's got the same thing to do all over again. We are running to close to the end of qualifying already. Sparks flying off the back of the car in front. The AMG in the turquoise livery. One of the nicest liveries you will see out there is the TT Cup livery, the Aperture Industries livery. Oh, and Mehdi very, very sideways out of the corner. That is a collision with the barrier, just pushing a little bit too hard, and unfortunately it's all over. Here is that livery I was talking about on board with CRG Jamie. You'll recognize it from the Portal 2 game if you were a player. Jamie goes wide as well and heads for the pit lane, unfortunately. So Jamie on his way in. What's Callum up to then in the rainbow winged Lexus RCF? We'll join him on board. Distinctive dashboard entry here. Hi to Miro, who joins us, and Yazan just informing me that his Kai's time hasn't been deleted. Okay, great stuff. So there you have, back on track, and he's back out again, and there is his time indeed resumed on the standings. Here is Callum then, say in the Lexus. We will have to find out how the car's top speeds, fuel economy and so on work out through the race. A little bit of a double attempt here to get into the final corner of the racetrack. Remember, the medium and hard tyres are the option tyres here today. Medium tyre must be used for 1/4 distance, as must the hard. You can run a 2-stop if you want to. This is one of those tracks where a 2-stop may well be open, as Callum gets 6th place on the board. How is Mehdi up to now? doing okay. I think on the bubble, though, is Affel, who will be wanting to get himself his time registered, no doubt. So heading into hairpin 2, turn 4 here. Oh, a big sideways moment. Really struggling for grip here so far tonight is Affa. It's not quite going to plan so far. It is the top 3, Kai Racer, Moreno and Maxim. Current champion, reigning champion, Hasnain in 8th place, as Affa is put into 10th temporarily while we've got drivers in the pits. Fortunately, I won't get a lot of warning when qualifying is declared over. It will just happen, and we will head back to the lobby. So it is absolutely on the drivers to make sure they get that lap in. There's that awful Marshall station when you're running in reverse on the right-hand side of the track on the approach to the S's here. You might see a car bang its wing on that Marshall station. The perils of driving a track in reverse order. So, sprinting for the line then, Affa from P11 on the board. That is the penalty marker. This is the start-finish line. Gets up to 5th place, 1.9 seconds off Kai Racer's time. H Racing Green, HRG has got his TT up there into 2nd, right at the death of qualifying. Beautiful stuff from him. And here we go. Looks like we've got an outboard camera ready for you. Hope you're ready for the race. We are looking forward to this one. 33 laps for round 1 of season 2 of the PSGL GT Tier 1 race. The lights are building. It's time to get going. It is indeed. It's lights out and go, go, go as they get away from the start. The McLaren in P3 of Moreno getting a brilliant start as it's getting very, very crowded on the way down into turn 1. This is Maxim taking the outside line. I can't get you an off-board, unfortunately, as he's left hung out to dry on the outside. It's currently Kai Racer, Moreno and HRG in the top 3 with Antonio and Affa joining into P5 as Maxim goes for it down the inside line on Affa. And we get a sideways moment there from the AMG Mercedes of Antonio. Looks like we've got Mehdi and ahead of Affa, and then Elliot in P8 as Maxim gets at the inside of Antonio. They'll go side by side. They just gets the nose ahead beautifully on this one, and we will do our best to get you a camera angle that is favourable. Unfortunately, just the way the game is currently coded is this glitch. So as they approach the next section, I'm going to duck out, back in again. Here we go, and now we're off board again. And we can see the racetrack a little bit better for you all. Down goes the Silvia in P4 of Maxim, down into the inside line, taking the early apex where the car in front was going for the late apex through the corner. A little bit of side-to-side action going on. It's just the lobbies and the lag right now, I think, particularly bad on the Mercedes of Antonio. But it's Moreno from Kai Racer. Looks like Moreno's got himself ahead of Kai Racer here. Let's focus on the front of the circuit. Beautiful livery there on Kai Racer's TT. And it looks like now Moreno getting himself out of shape on the exit of the final corner as they head through the end of lap 1. And it's Moreno from Kai Racer, from HRG, Maxim and Antonio, Affa, Mehdi and Elliot running in the latter places. Now remember, in Gran Turismo you have to start the race on full tank of fuels, but you can choose different tyre options. So medium tyres are the way to go for Kai Racer. We've got mediums on Moreno, HRG. Looks like Maxim as well, aggressively heading through sector 1 and down towards the second hairpin. Will he be in a position here to make a move? He does make a dive bomb down into the inside of the corner, gets a little bit of overspeed, sideways moment, good for style points, and up to P3 there for Maxim. Beautiful stuff in the Pennzoil liveried Nissan Silvia spec car. Great track awareness and knowing exactly where to plant the car. He's put his hazard lights on. Not quite sure what that's about. Is that just an off-putting moment for him? Away at the front of the field goes Moreno, starting to pull the gap from Kai. And Maxim close behind and following in his wheel tracks, H Racing Green. That's your order at the top 4. While there's a slight pause in the action as they head towards the S's, it's Antonio in the Mercedes in 5th. Then comes Affel, Mehdi, one of the hot favourites in the M4 here. Somewhat out of position, but on the hard tyres, so very important to note that Mehdi, Affel, Antonio are all on the hard tyres, as is Elliot here in the sister Sylvia in the Paramount Plus liveried car. Then Jamie is also on hard tyres, the Aperture Laboratories drivers splitting the strategy. Prez also on hard tyres, looks like a coordinated effort here from the drivers. Then we've got the Lexus of Callum on the hard tyres also, and reigning champion Hasnain struggling on the first 3 laps of this race, is stuck back in 12th position currently. Here is Moreno getting away from the rest of the grid. 1.7 seconds his current gap, but the action is happening here between 2nd, 3rd and 4th, as looks like HRD defending down, no, attacking down the inside this time of Maxim, and Kyracer slips on through as they go 3 wide round the turn 5 corner. Looks like the Nissan getting ahead with the top speed and exit out of the previous corner. The Nissan, a beautiful line through the corner there, as HRG is hanging on for dear life. Turned defence into a double defence, losing 2 places after all. And then we've got a battle 3 wide going for 4th place HRG, with Antonio and Affel trying to bully him on the medium tyres. Now looks like the hard's starting to come towards the drivers, towards the back half of the field at the moment. It's H Racing Green who's on the medium tyres, closely followed there by Antonio in the Mercedes, and Affel who is in the M4. Oh, over the grass goes the Mercedes once again. This time Affel now slips on through, and Antonio demoted down to 6th place. That relieves the pressure on HRG. Moreno still in the lead of this race from Maxim and Kyracer. Up ahead there you can see Kyracer and Maxim 2nd and 3rd positions, super close. Kyracer quite happy to sit behind Maxim, study the lines and braking points of his rival here before going for a move, presumably a little bit later on, as the front tyres on these medium shod cars already starting to suffer, and the fuel is of course working its way off the cars. 4 laps of 33 done and dusted. You can see the difference in lap times already building up as Kyracer picks up the fastest first sector of the race so far into lap 4. So obviously the medium's not troubling him too much. In the background we see HRG getting a wheel up on the dirt. I don't know if that's a deliberate tactic versus his rival or not, but sometimes it can be. There's another one, wheel up on the dirt, just unsighting your following driver there, as Kyracer then continues to chase down Maxim. That he's not wasting tyre energy, he's not wasting the attention of the driver in front. Of course, you make the driver in front defend too much, and then you start to both slow down if you can't complete the move. So waiting for a high percentage move with so much of the race yet to run. We're only just over 10% of the way through the race, and HRG followed as closely by Affel as Maxim is by Kyracer. But remember, Affel is on the hard tyres, the lead hard tyre runner, and Affel gets on past HRG and up to provisional 3rd place so far. Mr. Alf says Moreno's taken off. Indeed he has, but remember, on the medium tyres is Moreno. So we got the good launch and he's got the grip right now, but has he got the strategy correct? I tend to favour the drivers who start on the hards and can then run the mediums on a custom amount of fuel in the second stint of the race. Tends to be that they can get the most out of their medium tyres, but the McLaren up ahead here of Moreno is miles ahead. 3.5 seconds after 5 laps is a tremendous start. Let's have a look at his lap times. 41.4, 41.4, 41.5. That is metronomic from Moreno here, all the way up now in the McLaren. 3.5 seconds in the lead, and the other drivers, well, Maxim's second lap was there to rival those times, but his other laps have not been quite there yet, and you can see about 0.8 of a second slower. At his fastest is Kyracer on the same tyres as the McLaren of Moreno. So it looks like some of the attack gone out of Racer here slightly. The gap opening up to 0.6 of a second. Let's have a look down the field as we track Affel trying to get on terms with the provisional podium sitters at the moment, although on the hard tyres, so Affel in a very favourable position. Mehdi's moved up as well, as has Antonio past HRG, and HRG's race is slowly unravelling as we speak, and he is all over the circuit at the moment. I don't know if that is lag. That is lag, I think. So that is that's some amount of wall riding going on from HRG. His teammate, no, is only in 8th position and some 3.3 seconds away from him. Would have had a wry smile in the cockpit watching the lag of HRG track across the track there. But currently we've got Hasnain, reigning champion, down in 9th position on the hard tyres, in a good place later on, but still having moved ahead there of Prez and Callum, who have got a bit of a gap between them. So no major action going down in the foot of the field at the moment. Currently bringing up the rear is Elliott here in the Silvia Spec Art and the Paramount Plus liveried car, and there we have Moreno at the front of the field, currently tracking 2.5 seconds in front. He lost a good amount of time, some almost 1.5 seconds on lap 5 from his previous fabulous lap. So the medium tyres starting to drop off, and he's actually using the tyres in the most equitable fashion I've seen so far. Normally the driver's using the fronts a lot heavier, but it looks like Moreno able to balance the car as nicely as possible. Is he heading into the pits earlier than everybody else, and just happy to run the hards and go for a fairly short pit stop and brim the car with fuel? The hard starters will try and minimize their stop for fuel, and that is a unique feature here in Gran Turismo, that of course there's no minimum pit stop time as there is in the likes of ACC. You stop for as long as the fuel takes to fit. So if you use your fuel, or you're in a thirsty car, you will sit in the pits longer. The later you can pit, the faster you will be in the final stint of the race. As we hit, I think it's sunrise properly now. The sun's starting to come off the Kyoto Driving Park mountains, and here comes a challenge for the lead from Affel on a challenge for 3rd place from Affel on Racer. Gets down into turn 1 very, very neatly indeed, into the 50R corner of turn 1, and up to P3, again highest of the hard runners here so far. 7 laps down of 33 so far. I do enjoy a race to a number of laps rather than a race to a number of minutes. It does take a lot of that doubt out of your mind, doesn't it, as you see what is going on. Have seen some very interesting tactics when we're racing timed races on Gran Turismo, not necessarily here at PSGL GT. Of course. Let me know if you're enjoying the race so far, and you're a regular F1 watcher. We're hoping to try and win some F1 fans over to a Tuesday night. That's why we've booked it on a different night, and hopefully you are enjoying what you're seeing. Yeah, definitely some issues now for Moreno. The real pace has gone out, and he's in the tyre management phase, still stuck on the 42.2s after those first 3 super hot laps. So in 2nd place is Maxim, only 2.7 seconds off the lead. Maybe he went easy on those tyres to start with and is reaping the rewards now, but currently Affel is definitely in a very, very good position on the racetrack. A little bit of mid-corner braking going on, very stylish from Affel here in the M4. Further back, we've got a beautiful battle brewing here between Mehdi in 4th place, Antonio in 5th, and Racer there in 6th place. Mehdi is in a matte black liveried Mercedes SLS AMG. I do like the fact that many of the drivers have gone to a lot of effort to develop some very, very nice liveries. And let me know in the chat who you think has got the prettiest car out there currently. Who has gone to the most effort. That's always a good one to hear. And if you want to give me your podium predictions at this stage of the race, do so, of course, in the live chat. A reminder, this is PSGL's GT Season 2 Tier 1. Make sure that you've liked the video today and you're following us on socials at PremierSimGL and myself at WebORed5 if you're enjoying the commentary. Here is the three-way battle then for 4th place as it continues. The driver's heading towards the very open turn right now in the 2nd sector, turn 9. It's kind of given two turn numbers, turn 9 and 10. And now they head towards the S's. I think they will see some aero wake disruption going on, but with the cars as they go through this point, and they go back. They go sorry, nose to tail through there. You will see understeer being part of the way, and there's a pit stop for our leader Moreno in the pits already, so not happy with the longevity of those tyres. Lap 8, that is his absolute bare minimum done, so he triggers the first pit stop, and that is super interesting for me. He was that is the bare minimum that you can run those medium tyres, so he's done exactly what he needed to do and not a tiny bit more. So into the pits at the end of lap 8 goes our leader. So will he be able to action the undercut here? Of course, he'll have to have measured that he can do the whole race on a full tank of fuel potentially, and on his way out of the pits he comes. Currently got the fastest lap, has Moreno, and rejoins in 10th position with a nice bit of clear track in front of him. He hasn't even brimmed the tank, so he's quite confident of his fuel usage, but going from used mediums to brand new hards shouldn't be too much of a massive difficulty for him. Hopefully he'll be right there and able to put in the laps now. 4.7 seconds of clear air in front of him. In P10 is our erstwhile leader Moreno. HRG down in 12th position. Really not sure what's going on with HRG tonight. A seasoned Gran Turismo driver and an alum from season 1 who is struggling a little bit, it would be fair to say, at the moment. So our new leader Afleon, who has got his hard tyre shod M4 up to 1st position. Not the best start from Alpha, but he's worked on his times and brought the car into contention already. Being already ahead of the cars before they pit here on the slower tyre has got to hand a massive advantage over to Alpha. Maxim then 1.7 seconds off Alpha's lead, 1.5 seconds himself ahead of Mehdi, who has got the close attentions of Antonio behind him. Mehdi on the hard tyres, Antonio also on the hard tyres, but in between them is Maxim, who is hanging out with the guys on the end of his tyres. Look at that front left, looking very second hand is Maxim's car, so maybe it's time to go into the pits. He has used just over half a tank of fuel already as well, and very liberal with the PSGL liveries on the M4 here of Mehdi. It's a nice BMW Redolent livery. The use of the colours, very classic BMW, which I have to hand in points for. Antonio in 4th place, 0.6 of a second away from 3rd. Comes Racer next, shredding that medium tyre. Surely it's time to head into the pits. That outside left on these long right hand corners of turn 9, 10 and turn 15, really punishing that front left, especially if you're going to run over the grass. A little bit of a challenge going on here between Prez and Jamie in the Audi TT Cup Aperture Laboratories liveried car, and there we've got Prez in the turquoise and black Mercedes liveried car. Down the inside goes Prez, going for a move here on the hard tyres against Jamie, getting the job done nicely, all but slipping out of off the track slightly there, getting his tyres very dirty. Down into the pits comes, I think, the Asahi Kesei car in the background, but we will stick with this battle currently because down towards the turn 1 go 3 cars trying to create new lines through the corner. Prez is going to go all the way around the outside. That was brave, off on the marbles and got it done. Got ahead there of Jamie on the early point of the of lap 11, and ahead he goes. So Jamie hanging on to his position in front of Racer, but a nice move there from Prez to get up to P5. There is Kai Racer, hot on the heels of Jamie. So we've got a car on his own, Afa, then 3 cars together, and then a big gap before we have another 3 cars together. Then we've got Moreno bringing himself up to P8. He's gained that 4.7 seconds. He came out of the pits behind, I think, Callum, and he's got ahead of him already. Callum in 9th. Then we've got Elliot Hasnain in the Asahi Kese car, who I think has now pitted and is going to try and run those medium tyres for 22 laps unless he's going for a 2-stopper at the end. But there is Afa in the lead of this race now, 3.5 seconds to the good. And as Mark says, the podium is all French right now. It is indeed. Afa from Mehdi from Antonio. However, that will not be how the Nations Cup works out. The Nations Cup, remember, is decided on the manufacturer's home nation. So of course Afa would be driving for the Germany Nations Cup, Mehdi likewise, as would Antonio in fact, and only the top 2 will score. So it's a complicated system to factor in through the race, but we will we'll do our best through the season anyway to track that. Maxim then representing Asia Pacific here in the Nissan Silvia Spec R. Really nice retro livery, the Pennzoil Nissan livery. I've got to like that as a long-term motorsport fan. So lap 12 into the third of our race now. Time for the medium runners to very much decide to come on into the pits and get hards on. If they're one-stopping, you'd have to say. I'm really intrigued by Hasnain's plan here. Our reigning champion Hasnain. However, that was, of course, in the Group 3 car, so it could be very, very different here on the Group 4s. 2-wheel drive. Interesting to see Hasnain, to see Prez here on the automatic transmission as well. Think of that what you will. In terms of assists that are allowed, you can use ABS, auto gears, the brake indicator, and the braking area, but no other assists are permitted. So it really is very, very best drivers here for Gran Turismo. Jamie tracking around in P6, still on those hard tyres, wearing the fronts, the rear's not wearing at all, as now Moreno up to P7 on his huge plan to go for the sorry, I've lost my track of thought. To go for the big undercut here from Moreno, first pitter, but he's going to have to treat those hard tyres very carefully indeed. So let's see what kind of performance he's got at the end of the track, and we'll see what's going on. So Callum down in 8th, then Elliot, Hasnain, H Racing Green, HRG in 11th place on the hards he started this race on. Kai Racer has now stopped for hards and comes out in 12th position, 16 seconds off the back of HRG. But at the front, it's still a 3.7 second gap, and that to me looks like someone managing the gap from Afa in first down to Mehdi in second, who has only got a fairly slight lead over Antonio here, both on a very similar strategy. It looks like the M4 using slightly more fuel than the Mercedes. Chiara says, any of these guys in esports third season? Yes, absolutely. So these really are some very quick drivers indeed. So in the fuel conservation, tyre conservation stage of the race here, we see Afa up from away from the front row of the grid, and then he dropped back several places away from the start, and now he's working forward, his way forward, of course, up to the front of the grid, but still needing to continue the lead. Let's see where Moreno is relative to Afa. He's definitely within range here of an undercut. 21 seconds his gap to leader at the moment. and then down into currently 6th position, 2.8 seconds off the back of Prez. And there is a penalty on the board for Prez. In fact, looking a little bit ragged on the track at the moment is Prez. We shall see. So when they get a penalty on the car, down the main straight, just at the pit lane entry point on the main part of the circuit, they serve their penalty and will go off throttle for the penalty timer that is indicated on the lap. That should mean that Moreno coming up behind Prez and will be at full throttle as they go through the next part of the circuit. That you will then see him get past very, very nicely indeed. Be like candy from a baby down the main straight for Moreno. Not sure quite whether to stay with him or head up towards the circuit where we've got some drivers very close to one another. I think we will. We'll probably have the chance to watch that going on. So at the back of the field here, this is Kai Racer on the new hard tyres behind Jamie, who is, well, also on the new hard tyres, it would seem. So Jamie came out of the pits and managed to get ahead of Kai Racer. So some nice positioning here. Still running on the hard tyres from the start is HRG. He's down in 10th position though, as we've got Callum just ahead of him. Not close enough to make a move just yet though, HRG. Perhaps about to make that move though will come Moreno against Prez. Just abusing the edge of the circuit, of course. Yeah, we are missing a driver who couldn't make it with us tonight. I think he's actually watching, so he could probably give us all the details and the lowdown of the esports competition. Or hopefully we'll chime in and speak with some expertise on that issue as we focus, or I focus, on the race in hand at least. So Moreno, having got past Prez there fairly easily, is now 21.1 seconds off the lead of this race. The cars all ahead of him have pitted. He's hoping he's got enough fuel for the end. He's under half a tank now with more than half the race left to run. So maybe some careful management will be needed here from Moreno, our erstwhile leader. No sign of pit stops yet though from the hard starters. Afa, Antonio, Mehdi, Maxim. And now the tides turn because Moreno is in the best position with 0 pit stops to make. He hopes he's got enough fuel for the end of the race. He has obviously done his calculations. But it is somewhat of a moving beast, fuel economy over a long distance like this. Miro is going to field questions as well, which is great. Thank you so much, Miro. Still in the lead then, Afa, now by the expanding gap of 7.1 seconds, unlocked some speed lately. Again, some metronomic laps going in. Look at the similarity of his laps since, well, lap 7. I don't think his range of times is outside of plus or minus 0.3 of a second. That is tremendous stuff as he opens the gap. Antonio has had one rough lap in amongst that period. This is the matte black Mercedes SLS AMG. So Chiara says new to it, and we're absolutely happy to wield noob questions. No criticism from anybody for that. Do you have to save your fuel for strategy? Yes, absolutely. You need to do some calculations on your fuel. You can manage the fuel usage. There's a number of different settings you can use, but yes, it is very important that you've done your homework, you know what pace you're running to, and you know your fuel economy, because you will often only get the one pit stop opportunity to fill as little fuel as you can get away with, because with every litre of fuel or second of fuel time, you are losing track position, of course, while you stay still. Kevin is here for Antonio, I believe. So he's putting in the laps at the moment, Antonio, but losing ground out there to the leader, Affel. Mehdi not quite able to close in here on Antonio either. Looks like the top three at the moment very similar in pace, but it's Moreno who has managed to gain about 0.8 of a second over the last 2 laps. As you see the little baffles at the front of the McLaren opening and closing. Beautiful stuff. Lovely graphic details in GT7, which you can really appreciate. Moreno, say 20.3 seconds off the lead of the race, with the top 3 still to pit in front of him. A slight question mark in my mind over the fuel usage, and whether he's going to have to really conserve towards the end. Of course, the drivers will know the gaps, at least to the 2 drivers behind them, and they can make a calculation based on how much they want to push at the end of the race. It looks like we're starting to get a little bit of action further back. We've got Perez in 5th, Elliott in 6th, Hasnain, reigning champion, in 7th, HRG in 8th, and then a very close battle continuing between Kai Racer and now on the back of Maxim. Maxim having got the undercut done on Kai Racer as well. Into the pits then come our leaders, Antonio and Affel, with 10 and 18% fuel on the car. Mehdi has apparently gone through and will not rejoin. We'll just see how far up the order Moreno can go. Obviously he's in 2nd now, but how far in time can he gap the field? Looks like Chiara gets 69th comment tonight, which is excellent to see. Thank you so much for all the engagement so far, to everyone watching. Hope you're enjoying it. Really intriguing race developing for us in the latter stint of this one, as Jamie runs a little bit wide, compromises his exit of the corner, and will that be the invitation? Kai Racer needs to have a go down into turn 1. He's just that little bit too far back. The TT Cup car not quite able to live with the top speed of at least the circuit exit from the car in front. So we've got a couple of TTs here. Remember, the liveries denote the team that they're driving for. So Affel has come out of the pits, 5.5 seconds behind Moreno on the medium tyres. Affel with less than half the race to run on the medium tyres and less than half a tank of fuel. So here is Affel, as Moreno is still 8.4 seconds off the lead of the race. He's gained that time so quickly on Mehdi. Of course, he's gained massively on Affel, but 5.2 seconds is the gap to watch between Moreno and Affel here, as the robotic laps continue to be logged here by Moreno. Gotta say, does anyone think that Moreno's going to lose this race with the kind of consistency he's able to offer? Into the pits comes Hasnain now, your reigning champion, off the medium tyres. I think this is his 2nd stop. The Asahi Kese car, liveried car here. You can see on the Porsche Cayman. As we've got Kai Racer still watching the back of that Aperture Laboratories Audi TT. Very, very competitive lap times from the drivers here. Down the outside goes Kai Racer around the hairpin, looking for a good exit as they go back up the hill here through turn 5, over the crest and back down the dip again. Difficult braking here for 6, 7 and 8. Some big gaps have opened up on the field. Here comes Kai Racer then, finally heading towards that big open right-hander in the 2nd sector of the racetrack. He's got a good line, but there's plenty of grip on the outside for the sister TT car, who goes for that outside maneuver. The next corner is a left-hander, and that will favour Jamie here. Jamie turns left, gets the car nose ahead, and Gr.4 will have to do it again as the corners, the apexes come at you very quickly through this sector. We go into the final corner of the racetrack. There's a pit stop going on in front. That's Mehdi finally pitting. Moreno retakes the lead of the race, and we'll join them in a minute as Gr.4 ran the final lap of lap 19. I think that was 5 or 6 laps he spent studying and tracking Jamie's TT Cup car, and finally got the job done. Can he stay ahead, or are these two just that close in terms of pace? We will see. I think Gr.4 will get himself the nod here. He has a lot more fuel on board though than Jamie, so that should mean he can push a bit further on into this race. 3.3 seconds is that gap. We were monitoring it at 5.2. It's down to 3.3. We could have ourselves a beautiful finish to this race as Affel is bringing this medium tyre shod M4 up towards the McLaren of Moreno on the hard tyres, and the very old hard tyres on low fuel as well. Will Moreno be ducking into the pits for a splash and dash and a quick soft tyre stop? It is looking that way with still 13 laps to run, and he's got less than a quarter of a tank of fuel left to run in the race. It's Affel then in second place, 3.1, 3.0 is the time gap at the moment between the two drivers. A 1:41.3 was Affel's first lap on the quick stuff, on the new fresh tyres. Compare that to the 42.5, 42.3 that Moreno's just been running, and you should see Affel in striking distance within 3 or 4 laps, I imagine. Antonio holding on to third place here. HRG finally pits from 4th place, got himself up to 4th place on 2% of fuel. Now he'll be quick at the end of the race, hopefully, with light fuel and medium tyres to play on. Fastest lap currently rides with this Mercedes of Antonio, a Frenchman here in the Mercedes. Fastest lap is worth an extra point as he picks up a half a second penalty running wide through sector 1. And here is Gr.4 and Jamie again, still less than half a second separating the two drivers. They really are very, very evenly paced as that grass verge on the approach to turn 3 gets worn further and further away from the drivers as they continue to abuse the track limits. What do we make of Gr.4's livery here? Personally, I think there are more stylish ones on the circuit, but it's almost got a Repsol style colour scheme to it, which I have a soft spot for. Very wide is Gr.4. That's not going to help him put the gap here on Jamie that he's been hoping to get to. So a journey down the field. We've got Jamie in 5th, Prez still in 6th place, still collecting and spending those penalties. A 3.5 second penalty is a very hefty one to have to pay for here. Then comes Maxim in 7th place, 1.9 seconds off the back of him. Elliott has trashed that livery, that split livery, purple and white livery on the Paramount Plus Silvia. Absolutely trashed it so far. Obviously contact with the walls. He's down in 8th place, 10 seconds away from Maximum, 47 off the lead. Then comes H Racing Green, Hasnain, our reigning champion, Callum in 12th, but Affel opening out the gap, and Moreno has pitted again, and Moreno has decided to pit again, so making life a little bit more difficult for him. Into the pits for a quick soft tyre, will it be? No, he's put the hard tyres on, and he's filled the car up. So obviously the McLaren not able to run quite so well on its fuel economy, but the hard tyres are a surprise for me with 10 laps to run. I would have thought a second set of mediums or even the softs would be the way to go, but far be it for me to second guess these quality drivers' strategies until the end of the race. But hard tyres, is anyone else surprised by that? That is interesting to me to run those. And now manages to find that tiny gap between Gr.4 and Jamie that for much of the race has been less than half a second. It's opened up a little bit for them now. maybe Moreno's early time on the tyres. He decided that the mediums weren't going to last. I remember he pitted on lap 8 at the minimum distance, so he just feels that they're just not there for him. So let's see if he can do some good passing here on the new hard tyres versus Kai Racer's hard tyres that have been on the car for a while. He's going to try and two-stop this one, where I would imagine most of the rest of the drivers are going to one-stop it. So Moreno has a 34-second gap with just about 10 and a half laps to run to the end, trying to get the slipstream. A defense there already from the Audi as they change lines. Down goes Kai Racer down to the inside. Moreno quite happy around the outside, although there's a lot of marbles out there. Kai Racer holds firm down the inside, steers the car towards the exit of the corner. His nose was ahead. He was entitled to do that. Moreno treading very carefully, not getting too rough and ready in this race one. Very important to get the points early doors in the championship, and a 3.5 second penalty, trying to find some clear air. He takes himself down the inside line, doesn't make too hard a contact. There was a little bit of a rub there between drivers, a little flash of the lights from Kai Racer, who wasn't very impressed, but I don't see Moreno getting 3.5 seconds ahead of Kai Racer before the penalty line on the race. So, oh, and he's certainly feeling very greedy on the apex through that turn 8 as well. So Moreno ragging this car now. He can afford to really push the tyres, but that one was slightly surprising to see that error there on the circuit. Here comes the deceleration on its way, and you can see from the perspective of Kai Racer what happens as the car will stop almost dead as he passes the line. It is around about now. The car will temporarily ghost. No throttle going on the McLaren, and he's having to get the job done once again. In fact, Jamie gets by as well. So the McLaren really struggling after that 3.5 second penalty. So Jamie back ahead of Moreno. Moreno struggling down now to nearly 39 seconds off the lead of this race. Let's head up towards the front and see Affel is 8.1 seconds ahead of Antonio, who himself is 28 seconds to the good on this battle for third place as the race runs to its conclusion. 9 to go now on the circuit. That Moreno trying to get a move done there on Jamie. Down the inside he goes, and easily through. Much better grip on the brakes and up to the apex, as Jamie will now have Maxim to worry about behind. But I think that means Moreno, with 38.8 seconds off the lead of the race, with 9 laps to go. That's quite a heavy job, and he's still skipping over those apexes. So quite happy to push to the end of the race. Is that Prez leaving the session? Unfortunately, it looks like. Apologies if you're here to support Prez, but he's just slipped back. So Moreno got a 1.1 second gap to Kai Racer and a 38 second gap to the lead. How are the rest of our drivers doing? This is Maxim in the Pennzoil liveried Nissan Silvia Spec R, and he is catching now. He was one of the podium contenders early doors in the race. He filled the car pretty fat with fuel, put hard tyres on for a one-stopper off the mediums, and he's bringing himself back into contention as the race progresses. Elliott Dan is 7th, some way out of contention, having a bit of a lonely race there on the Paramount Plus liveried sister Silvia Spec R. Then comes HRG. Not much of his Aperture Laboratories livery left on the right hand side of the car from HRG. Hasnain in the Porsche Cayman the Asahi Kasei livery car and reigning champion. He hasn't got any gold on the car though. That would be a little bit too gauche, I think, for Hasnain. Then we've got Callum down in 11th. We've got 11 runners remaining as Afa comes into the pits now off the medium tyres. He's used all the fuel left in the car, so that opens up things massively for Moreno. Antonio goes on through. Antonio with just under a quarter tank of fuel left to go. Looks like he might have to stop this one to a conclusion as well. Medium tyres go onto Afa's car as Moreno is approaching the final corner of the racetrack. So it looks like Afa will get out of the pits plenty. He'll almost teleport to the end of the pit lane once the fuel is in. There he goes. And now the gap will be a lot more realistic. A challenge for Moreno to catch back to Afa once we cross the next mini sectors. Time should drop dramatically. It's 11.6 seconds, so we should end up with a bit of drama at the end of this race. So Moreno now 10.8 seconds off the back of the Afa car, who has 2 stopped now. And then we've got Antonio, who we're expecting to pit again. Who won't pit again then? Kai Racer should be okay. Looks like Maxim will be all right as well to the end of the race. Then we've got Elliot, who, well, his tyres won't be in a great shape, but I think he'll be all right to bring them home. Antonio, I don't think those mediums are going anywhere, and neither is the fuel, as the fuel light is already flashing. We hit 81 comments, so really... really grateful to you all for that one. I hope we get to 100. Canelo says, unlucky Moreno. Well, I don't think it's done and dusted just yet. Remember, Affel's now put the medium tyres on, Moreno on the hards. This could be difficult, and it could be a real Alain Prost-like drive here from Afa, building the speed and building the track position all the way through the race with consistency. Here is Maxim, having got ahead of Kai Racer, who's in no mood to let that go easily. They both wiggle their way through the penultimate corner of the racetrack in the S's. So pitting is Antonio. Afa re-inherits the lead of the race. Moreno gets across the line. He is 4.1 seconds behind Antonio now. And I think we've got a battle on our hands, at least for second place tonight. Possibly Maxim, who is starting to bring the car up towards the end. We've got a 6-lap race left to run. It is Afa from Antonio, who has got a 7.6 second gap. That is how small this pit stop time actually takes once you have got very little fuel left to put in the car towards the end of the race. Afa's managed to get away with just over a quarter of a tank of fuel, and Afa he's not hanging around. He's absolutely monstering the curbs through turn 8. That is where the drivers have been picking up their penalties. That could help Antonio. Let's monitor the gap. 7.1 seconds before they next cross the start-finish line and the penalty marker. I think he will lose at least a second relative to Antonio over the next lap. So the gap is already dropping here between Afa and Antonio, and Afa hasn't even gone across the penalty line just yet. He'll be paying that penalty around and about now as Antonio, with foot flat to the floor, heads towards the start-finish line. How much time will Afa lose? Yeah, that was significant, wasn't it? As he's in the middle of turn 1 already. That was nearly 2 seconds of net loss to the driver in front. Here is the slowing Moreno. What is that all about? Moreno allowing Maxim through. Moreno, presumably another penalty on the board, and has lost 2 places. So the race that was his to lose has absolutely been lost by Moreno, unfortunately, with track limit penalties. That's 2 that I've been able to count while we've been watching him, and he drops 2 places. Maxim, though, up to 3rd place now, as down the inside goes Moreno. Trying a switchback is Kai Racer. Doesn't quite work. And Canelo, yeah, confirming that 3-second penalty. So a really hefty one for Moreno. I imagine that was turn 8 again as they're just approaching 6, 7, and then 8 as they skip across that apex. You'd think they'd learn after all the amount of laps they put in for practice here. It is Afa from Antonio, Maxim, Moreno, Kai Racer, Elliott, HRG, and Hasnain, your top 8 after 28 laps here at Toyota Driving Park, the Yamagawa reverse circuit configuration. It's now Moreno trying to get back on terms here with the podium at least. All struggling for grip, really pushing incredibly hard here. I imagine he's running fully rich on the fuel mix to the end of the race. He's on hard tyres, so he can push, but will he have the underlying grip in the car here to manage to get himself back on that podium? Maxim will be very pleased with the gift of that place back. But I think the podium still in the grasp of Moreno. We could end up with a French-Spanish podium after seeing 3 French guys on the podium originally. What's the gap looking like at the front? Oh, it's down to 3 seconds. That's what we like to see as the gap for Afa is coming down. Antonio really building the speed here towards the end of his race. A 39.9 the last lap out there for Antonio. He's on soft tyres. He's really gunning for it. This should be an absolute showstopper at the end of this race. Don't go anywhere. Let's have your predictions here. Will Antonio get past Afa and take the lead of the race with just the last 2 or 3 to go? Will Moreno get himself back on the podium, or can Maxim, with his consistency here, manage to resist the McLaren, 2-stopping McLaren behind him currently? .4 seconds the gap at the front, and we track with Antonio. Antonio's lag a little bit difficult to live with for too long on the circuit track cameras, but we'll watch as long as anybody with motion sickness can stand. Looks like he's going sideways into the corners. I'm sure he's not, but he's really loving those soft tyres. Now 3 laps to go, including this one. Afa leads 2.1 seconds in the M4 from the Mercedes SLS. Maxim, oh, it's so close here. Oh, that's danger for Moreno as well, as Maxim doesn't need to defend down the inside. He saw the exit that his rival Moreno got behind him, and he skipped over the apex curb there. I think Moreno forced to bail out of the throttle slightly for fear of getting yet another costly time penalty on the car. Whoa, big sideways moment there for the Silvia in the beautiful Penzor livery. When this game runs smoothly, it is such a crisp and beautiful thing to watch. Fortunately, it doesn't run smoothly all that often for us. It is still pretty new though in Gran Turismo generations, I suppose. So looking for the outside line is Moreno. Always really trying to go for it out there on the marbles, but Maxim resisting, holding him off. I think we've got a closing gap, 1.2 seconds now at the front of the field, but these two are still the closest to a move. Here comes the McLaren around the outside down into the hairpin of turn 1. It's quite an open hairpin, and the McLaren is ahead. Maxim holds the inside line. Will he run him out of room on the exit? Yes, absolutely he will. And holds on yet again. Great driving from both of them. Maxim, no surprises in the way he drove that corner. Everyone would have to expect that that would be the way that the inside man would do it. But here comes the McLaren once again, looking for an opportunity as Maxim uses the middle of the circuit this time. Keep his rival guessing behind him. And I think that the leaders, they've just lapped one of the tail runners, so that was why they suddenly got close to one another. Here comes the McLaren once again, 2 laps plus this one left to run. With every lap that Moreno fails to get past Maxim, the benefit of the slightly newer tyres will be reduced further and further. Maxim to the inside of the wide open corner with a nice run here. Moreno looking for the slingshot out of there, the 135R corner, and they go across then the S's. You can't really make a pass through the S's, but you can certainly close in and make an attempt into the final corner, turn 15, if you get everything exactly right. Again, Maxim using the inside, using the middle of the track, surprising the guy behind, and looking once again for a good exit, nice and controlled, not pushing too hard, not giving up the inside too early, as Moreno with the slipstream down the inside is still looking for that inside line. He'll go for it now, will he? Dives down into the pits, almost makes contact at the lockup of the outside front. He's going to try and give the treatment back. No, he gives the outside of the circuit over to the Nismo, who is to the Nissan, who is ahead, and down into turn 2 once again. Really high quality driving from these two, but there's now the Nissan runs wide out of turn 3. In they go to the hairpin of turn 4. He's still got the inside line. What a brilliant battle. We're battling right at the front as well with 2 laps to go. It's anyone's guess between the podium finishers. It is Afa, who is 0.2 of a second behind the soft tyre shod Mercedes SLS, who will try it round the outside through the 50R corner. Round he goes. Should get the drive on the soft tyres. The next turn is a left, so the Mercedes should be ahead on the way into the S's. He's got the line. He's got the grippy side of the track. The M4 trying to hold on, but through to take the lead goes Antonio with a lap and a half left to run on this racetrack. Antonio takes the lead on the soft tyres, but can he keep them alive for this one more racing lap still to come? He's going to be difficult. He's flashing with his fuel light. He's as light as he could be on fuel, and he's got the best set of tyres. Great pass from Antonio there. We've got Afa in second place. What is happening between Moreno and Maxim? I don't want to miss this pass, and I'm glad that we didn't, as Moreno is trying to make the difference. It's the final lap that is now on. Sorry, it is not the final lap. It will be the final lap for these drivers now. Yes, indeed. Another quirk, as using the top speed this time goes Moreno and gets the job done before the braking zone into turn 1. Moreno up ahead, and he'll just need to be as calm as possible on the way through this final lap, not pick up another one of those difficult penalties he's been picking up tonight. Afa trying to stay with Antonio, who has got a 0.7 of a second lead now. Afa has lost the lead, and it could be that Antonio only leads 1 lap of this race, but it's the one that matters. It's the final lap. Antonio still with the lag. Still, he got the job done on the overtake beautifully, giving that racing room, because otherwise it could have ended in disaster. He's currently got the fastest lap of the race, as well as Afa tries a move down on the brakes into the 50R corner at the in the end of the second sector. Now they go through the S's. Just a follow my leader section here with one real opportunity for Afa left to go, as long as Antonio doesn't make a mistake on the circuit. Afa is neat and tidy through the S's, but not the final corner where it all counts, as now Antonio down into the final corner of the racetrack on the brakes on the way into the second taken apex. It looks like it's going to be the Mercedes SLS AMG Group 4 driver in the matte black livery. It's Antonio who wins our race 1 of season 2 from Afa, takes him very close to the line with a flash of the lights. Moreno has managed to resist picking up a crucial penalty on the last lap of this race, and it looks like he's going to pick up the 3rd place on the podium, and it's Maxim who fought bravely to the end there and picked up 4th in the end. Great drive from Maxim, almost got himself on the podium. Kai Racer picks up 5th place, a nice points finish for your first race of season 2. HRG, I'm sure, after the first stint of the race, would be pleased to bring that car home in 6th. Next comes Elliot Hasnain, our reigning champion, with some work to do in the intervening week before we go to Watkins Glen next week. Hasnain in 8th place. Jamie crosses the line in 9th. Callum's already crossed the line and been lapped, but it is all about Antonio who wins the race. I hope you've enjoyed that one. I certainly have. And that is your finishing order for this race 1 of season 2. My name's Webbo. I've been your commentator tonight at WebboRed5 on Twitter and YouTube, and also on the Discord. But remember to like the video before you depart from us. Make sure you leave a GG to Antonio, as Canelo has done in the live chat. The drivers all watch their races back, and I'm sure enjoy that one. But a great finish. That was well worth the wait. Congrats to Antonio for bossing that one at the end. Aura wanting to come and race, and hopefully we will see you next week. Aura, hopefully the German PSN servers will be a little bit better. How have the Nations Cup winners done? Well, Germany secure the top 2 places on the racetrack for the manufacturers' nations. Then comes Moreno for Great Britain, Maxim for Asia Pacific. Then I think Kai Racer will pick up the 5th place points for Asia Pacific as well. But congrats to everybody. I will just check in with the driver chat. HRG had a lot of fun there, he said. Callum said it's a waste of his life. There is Antonio with the win confirmed on your screen. Callum said the race was dead on lap 1 for him, unfortunately. Well, hopefully it was good. It was good fun. Good to get the practice in, and you can come back strong next time. Callum, I would say just keep my eye on the driver chat for you as we finish up the stream here. Appreciate that, Aura. Thank you so much. Thank you to Emilian for his comment, and for everybody's comments as well. We've enjoyed the evening's racing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss next week, Tuesday nights, for race 2 of season 2, where we go to Watkins Glen in the US of A. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for liking the video. But from me, Webbo, and everybody at Tier 1, we will catch you on the next race day.